I wonder how much of the noise of that's my trousers, by the way. That's just my hands on my trousers. I wonder how much of that noise is going to be picked up by the microphone. Um, Hello and welcome back to the Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt, as always, and I'm speaking really fast because I want to just get straight into things. Still haven't bought that pop filter. Do you know a pop filter is kind of expensive? So yeah. I've considered buying a whole arm setup that comes with a pop filter, because then one, I get an arm to put my microphone on, and two, then it comes with a pop filter anyway, so that's cool. I'm already out of breath and I've hardly started talking. Anyway, last week I talked about the Nintendo Badge Arcade, and I was using that as a small segue into the wonderful world of technology. And then I never talked about technology. I just talked straight about the Nintendo Badge Arcade. So that was fun. But yeah, let's talk about technology. Let's talk about some of the weird things that I've encountered with technology and some of the things that I find awkward as hell. The first thing I'd like to say is Windows updates are universally hated. They're so bad. I literally had my laptop boot up and was like, yo, I need to do Windows updates now. I was like, oh, for God's sakes, fine, do it. I literally just said, have fun, do the updates, and I'll go have lunch, and I'll come back and see how you are later. And it went fine. I remember I had this one experience where I did the update, and for some reason it just broke the HDMI port on my laptop. Software only. The HDMI port works fine. But some update just didn't agree with, I imagine, the graphics video driver for the HDMI port. And I was sat there freaking out because I recently bought an expensive graphics tablet that was a monitor tablet, and I was sat there like, oh, I can't use it as a monitor because the HDMI doesn't work on my laptop because Windows Update. Frustrating, so frustrating. My small semblance of sanity that I've grasped back is there's a pause feature in Windows 10 for the Windows Update, and you can spam it for a month, and then it will force you to do Windows Update. So what I do is I do that, I then make a note of the date on my whiteboard, and then just the closest time before that date, I sit down and do Windows Updates at a convenient point in time, because I don't want to have to do it at 10 o'clock at night when I want to just go to bed, but Windows is like, no. I digress. A couple of years back, I got really into smart technology in terms of smartwatches and fitness trackers and all of that fun stuff. And I really wanted a smartwatch. But the problem is, when I was looking, there were three categories of smartwatch. There was the Apple Watch, which I don't have an iPhone. There was the Galaxy Watches, which I don't have a Samsung phone. And then the Android Wear Watches, or Wear OS as it's now called. And they were universally determined to be the worst of the three categories. I could have gotten a Samsung watch, but the problem is I then have to install all of the Samsung stuff on my phone, including the Wear app and the Samsung Health and Samsung Pay and any of the Samsungs, which would have been a pain, especially if I then decided to change phone to something different. I'd have to do that all over again. And I really wanted a Wear OS watch, just a straight Android smartwatch, because the designs are really nice and the software is clean and minimal. But yeah, essentially what happened is I asked for one for my birthday, and I actually got a Wear OS watch. I got the Scarlett Foster 3. It's a gorgeous watch. The software is hot garbage, which I was warned of. But I can honestly say, if you want a smartwatch for the following things, anyone will do. If you want it to tell you your notifications, if you want it to count steps, if you want it to, track sleep, and that's about it, and tell the time, a Wear OS smartwatch will work flawlessly for you. That's literally all I use mine for. It counts my steps, tracks my sleep, which came in an update actually. It didn't initially do that, and then they updated it to have sleep tracking, which was wonderful. And I get notifications on it. That's all I want, really, out of a smartwatch. So I'm happy with my purchase because it's a beautiful looking watch, and I can't really complain about it in terms of the things I want to do. If you wanted to do anything far more complicated, like, turn-by-turn navigation on your watch, maybe not the one for you. You'd possibly be better served by a Samsung watch if you're on Android, or an Apple Watch. I mean, if you have an iPhone, just buy an Apple Watch. Every other watch, when connected to an iPhone, is massively hindered by the whole the tight integration that Apple has on their system. So yeah, and plus the Apple Watch in a technical sense is fantastic. In an aesthetic sense, I personally don't like it, but I'm not the average person who's buying Apple products. You might be questioning, well, why didn't you just get a fitness tracker? And yeah, to be honest, I am now considering that. Things like the Fitbits, the like little small ones, they can do basic notification stuff where they'll just buzz and have like an icon and maybe a bit of the text of whatever app it is you're being notified from. They obviously are very good for fitness stuff because I mean that's what they're initially made for. So they'll do your sleep tracking, they'll do your steps, they'll do workouts and whatnot. Although the Android stuff can do workout tracking, but I never bothered because the list of things they offer is not nearly extensive enough for the variety of exercises I do. So yeah, I also did briefly look into hybrid watches, which are known for their like extensive battery life because they're basically a regular watch with maybe an e-ink display or some funky fancy way of telling your notifications through the clock hands. Yeah, it's a little too cut back personally for me, so that's fine. The one I've got currently, I've now had nearly 2 years, so I'm happy with it. Clearly, I haven't had the need to upgrade. The only time I want to upgrade is because, ooh, shiny new thing, which I feel a lot of people have that inclination of, ooh, I want it because it's shiny and new, not because I actually need it. So yeah, but I mean, if you're like me, you end up saying to yourself, you don't need this, and then you just sit and never buy anything because you keep convincing yourself that you don't need it, which I suppose is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means I never buy anything. Or when I do buy something, I have major buyer's remorse for like a month after. Or when I bought my PC, I was sat there going, why have I bought this? I just spent so much money on this PC. Why? But I'm glad I did because now if I ever do want to play PC games, which I do occasionally, I don't have to worry about it not being powerful enough. It's great for drawing. It's just nice. It's nice not having to have my laptop plugged into a million different things on my desk. The PC sits under my desk, out of the way. It's great. Moving on, a constant debate for me, speaking of Apple products, is iPads versus literally any other tablet. So I have that aforementioned graphics tablet that I use on my computer, and it's great. It's wonderful, especially considering how much I paid for it. I did my research and got a really good one. For as much as I could afford at that point in time, and it is fantastic, and I will probably not need to upgrade it ever unless I decide to dive headfirst into the art creation as a job. But the thing that I have to bear in mind is I have to turn on my computer. I have to get up from wherever I am currently and go sit at my desk. I have to turn it on and everything, and it's that barrier to entry that stops me just using it constantly. The alternative to that is things like my tablet and my phone I am glued to permanently because they are so quick and easy to use. Why wouldn't you? You know, if I want to do a quick Google search for something, or if I want to check a web page or something, I use my phone. If I want to watch YouTube, I use my tablet. I've got a big freaking Samsung 4K TV, which again is the same barrier to entry. It has to turn on, I have to wait for it to load up and then get YouTube, and then the interface is weird, so I just end up using my tablet half the time. So why don't I buy a tablet you can draw on? Well, that's because I was an idiot. I bought the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e because it was the cheapest one at the time. It was, I can't remember now how much it was, but compared to the other tablets in the Samsung line, it was cheaper. The thing I neglected to figure out was that it doesn't come with a pen. It's the one in the S line, in the Tab S line, that doesn't have a pen. And yeah, at the time that wasn't a problem because I wanted it as a media machine, and it's a fantastic media machine. Fantastic. The screen is gorgeous. The speakers are amazing considering it's stupid light, and it's just great in terms of general consumption of media and whatnot. I don't think it's massively powerful, so if you want to play games on it, you kind of have to rein your expectations, and it is like 2-3 years old now at this point, so it won't be able to run the latest stuff at the highest settings and whatnot. But if you want to do anything else, it's like, nah, mate. Nah. So I've recently been considering, do I buy something like the recent Tab S8 that came out? Do I buy the Tab S7, the previous generation? Although the problem with that is you can't buy the Tab S7 anymore, weirdly. You can buy the S6 Lite, that's everywhere. If you want the Tab S7, no. But then there's the Tab S8. But then I also am starkly aware that for art creation, the iPads are just absolutely fantastic, and even the cheapest base iPad supports the Apple Pencil now, and it's great for content creation. And it would be wonderful for me because it's, again, that barrier to entry. It's just there, it's always on. You pick it up, you start drawing, off you go. There's no friction, and you can do it anywhere. I could be sat in bed drawing or on the sofa or something. I don't have to get up and go to a specific place to use it. But the problem obviously is it's Apple, right? And I haven't owned Apple products in years. I don't even know if I could figure out what my Apple ID was from when I had an iPod Touch, I don't know, a decade ago. So, and then obviously all of my stuff that I've bought currently is Android based. So all of my software that I use is Android based, Google services, things like that. So it's then awkward trying to slide over into a completely different ecosystem that is completely walled off. And it's a real struggle because I know that the hardware and the pieces of software on Apple's side is fantastic, but it's getting into it from a perspective of like accounts and whatnot. So yeah, very first world problems. I'm surprised with how much I can talk doing this whole new format point with the concept of just pick a topic and talk about it. So anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed listening. This one's going to be a little bit echoey based on how I've set up the recording, but we'll see what we can do with it in editing. Yeah, stay safe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.